Are elephants sensitive, or shall I say very sensitive, to noise and vibrations?
They can be, yes, sir.
No, sir. Give me a yes or no, please. Are they very sensitive to noise and vibrations, yes or no? I mean, I could be sensitive to a lot of things, but I'm not being studied. Elephants have been studied.
Well, the reason I answered it that way is because it depends on where the sound, what type of sound, and how predictable the sound is to an animal, including elephants.
No, I'm not talking about other animals. I'm talking about
including elephants.
Is there anybody at the table who can help answer that question a little clearer? If you've been talking about elephants as experts, any light on that? I got my own experts. I'm going to ask them that question myself. Any of you?
To my knowledge, there's been no research done specifically testing elephant responses to a range of frequencies. So my answer would be, like humans, it's an individual response, that some animals may be sensitive to certain frequencies and others not.
Are elephants more sensitive to vibrations on the ground than humans?
Well, it's known that elephants can communicate with low-frequency sounds, so there's some degree of sensitivity in their ability to pick up low-frequency sounds.
More than humans?
What those frequencies are and what range they're over, I think the research is currently underway.
Is that more than humans in elephants? What you just described? Do humans have that ability?
I can't answer the question technically. I mean, humans also can feel vibrations, which are low-frequency sounds, so I don't have a technical answer for you.
Okay. Who could speak to the substrates? My understanding, they're going to be using river sand on part of the substrate. It's part of the ground that the elephants will be walking on?
That's correct, yes, sir. That is correct, yes, sir.
It's about
So,
2 foot.
river sand.
2 foot of river sand depth, 2 foot depth.
Is river sand something that elephants like to eat?
I don't know that they like to eat it. I'm sorry, sir. I understand probably where that question is going. So it's not that they like to eat it. If the question is, do they eat it in the process of...
We don't want to get in the mind of the elephant. Do elephants eat river sand?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying...
No. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm asking you a separate question.
Okay.
Do elephants eat river sand?
I don't think they eat it intentionally, but I'd like to defer to my elephant staff on that.
Bring them up.
Okay. Yes, restate the question,
Do
please.
elephants eat river sand?
I would say, by my experience, they do not intentionally eat river sand. It's not to say that it couldn't be incidental sand that it adhered to some food is a possibility.
If they get river sand, if they eat river sand, do you know if it does anything good or bad to them?
Well, I would say it's not good if it would accumulate, but that's why we also, in our institution, feed a great deal of browse, and browse is a natural cleansing product that keeps the intestinal tract clear, and also we supplement with beet pulp and bran. So in the course of a normal diet, I'm sure even in the wild, there's no reason to think that they don't incidentally, ingest different types of substrate.
Thank you. Ms. Buckley or Dr. Poole, can you shed some light on what river sand does to elephants, and do they or do they not eat river sand?
Well, elephants will ingest river sand. Elephants that are deprived of minerals or are maybe thirsty. There have been elephants in captivity that have become impacted by sand, and it, of course, could kill them. It's quite difficult to get that volume of sand out of their gut, even with browse. And once they start to develop the habit of eating sand, they will continue. There was a baby elephant that was born at the zoo in Washington, and she ate sand almost on a daily basis, and eventually they lost her.
So you plan on having Billy, and approximately how many elephants in the 3.6, 3.8 acre exhibit?
We're going to start with 4 elephants and then grow according to our ability to support them.
Okay, where do you plan on getting those elements from? And the second part of that is, does it cost money to get elephants and bring them to a zoo?
Our intent would be to work with our colleagues in the Association of Zoos and Aquariums to identify animals that we could bring to the institution. Elephants can be acquired through our colleagues in a variety of ways. They could be purchased, they can be loaned, or they could be donated to the city of Los Angeles.
Is it the range of truth to say that the going rate for a full-grown elephant could range in the $500,000? Because I've been told by my staff that one was transferred to one of the zoos recently, just in the last few weeks, and it was a $500,000 purchase. Is that a realistic number when you can't get them for free?
I don't know if that's a realistic number.
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Lewis, you're running the zoo, right?
Right.
And in 2006, were you running the zoo then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when this exhibit was presented to the
Yes,
council
sir.
and went through the process? Thank you. So that being the case, and you then and now still say that you plan on having a breeding program, correct?
That is our desire. The exhibit has been designed so that it could hold all bulls, or it could hold aged cows, or a breeding group. So our desire is for a breeding group, but we're going to support the national herd in the best way that we can.
Okay, now, even though in 2006 you had prepared to present and answer these kinds of questions, you've done so again today, correct? You prepared? But here you're telling me that you're running the zoo. This is the second time you have to answer questions on this very important matter, and you can't tell me what the range or what kind of cost it costs to get elephants when you just said we only have one, right, Billy?
Yes, sir.
You said we're going to start with 4. You're already thinking about getting 3 more, but you can't tell me that you have an idea of how much that costs?
My focus would be to try to get loans or donations from other cities to support our herd.
And if you can't get them for free or very cheap, are you thinking that you, in order to get to your objective, would you pay for them?
We may have to pay for them, but we also can pay for them with either city dollars if the council approves, obviously, or through our private support organization.
Also, in case you didn't know, Mr. Lewis, there was a sworn declaration in the lawsuit earlier this year where one of the zoo handlers said that Billy did not arrive at the LA Zoo with exhibiting the issue of bobbing his head. It was subsequent to him arriving at the zoo. That's a sworn declaration. That's not somebody saying that out in the street or what have you. That's a sworn declaration. You're very well aware people get in big trouble when they get subpoenaed in a lawsuit and they have to give declarations. That's pretty truthful. At least that's the way I'm taking it. Now, are you personally aware? Did you see Billy arrive at the zoo with that head bobbing issue, or it's something that you had interpreted either by other people letting you know that?
No, and you're correct. In talking with the staff and trying through all of this, the 2 years ago, then through the lawsuit, trying to understand what that behavior was, he developed that behavior very early on. Whether he came in with it or it was shortly after he arrived at the zoo, I cannot tell you.
Okay. Well, the fact of the matter is, now that I've reminded you that it was in a sworn declaration that someone who was there when Billy arrived said that he was not bobbing his head, that was a condition that came afterwards. Do with it what you wish, but I'm talking to my colleagues now. Mr. Lewis, thank you for being honest about saying you're not sure about the AZA allowing electric shock, but I'm reading the latest version updated in 2003, and it says electric prods are permissible, et cetera, et cetera.
What is the et cetera, et cetera?
What's that?
What is the et cetera, et cetera?
That's on his time, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Electric prods are permissible only as an emergency safety device. However, their use is restricted to situations in which keepers feel the imminent need to defend themselves against elephant attacks or to protect an elephant from possible injury, and that's the end of that.
Thank you.
But, whoa. Did you, with all due respect, did you just prove something by me reading that? My time, please.
Yeah, because it's what I've been experiencing where pieces of information are pulled out of context.
No, but the question by Councilmember Alarcón was, is it permissible under AZA? He didn't say, is it permissible under certain conditions? He asked you a simple question. A few minutes ago, you couldn't remember. Now that I started reading it, you remembered that there was other things said along with it. That's kind of interesting.
I didn't hear your last comment, sir.
Mr. President, please mind my time.
Your time's being held.
Thank you very much.
You're
Because
welcome.
he was speaking and I saw you.
No,
not pushing the
you're at
button.
2:11. Keep on going.